Welcome, betterlicious people of Biafra. Welcome, my wonderful people of Biafra. Welcome, the wonderful people of this lovely channel. We have brought you a new news coming from the Zujiria country. And this news is that one retired army general has revealed in his letter to President Tinubu that the Nigerian military is involved in the sponsors of Boko Haram. That the military is linked. Say military follow for the people will be say then they sponsor Boko Haram. Now within this man they try write, they try explain to the president. Tell him say the people where they military, top officers for Zoo military, say then they involved in the sponsoring of Boko Haram. Make I read for one and waiting right as we see for Sarah reporters. He say former general officer commanding one mechanized division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Ali Keffi, has revealed that terrorism financing, procurement and movement of arms and ammunition for Boko Haram and other criminal elements have links to the military. General Ali Keffi, who was forced out of the army for exposing his colleagues' involvement with terror financing, disclosed this in a letter to President Bola Tinubu, which also detailed his arrest, detention, and compulsory retirement. The most worrisome, he said, that the most worrisome aspect was that some of the individuals involved in terrorism financing of Boko Haram terrorists and who were also involved in procurement and movement of arms and ammunition for Boko Haram and other criminal organizations had links with the military. He stated, Ali Keffi, who headed operations service-wide set up by former President Muhammadu Buhari to investigate those involved in terrorism financing, said his arrest, detention, and compulsory retirement followed the report of his team, which exposed the involvement of senior government officials, a top banker, and a top military brass in terrorism financing. Ali Keffi, in the letter published by This Day, revealed that he headed a presidential investigation task force, instituted board of inquiry, convened by Major General B.M. Mongono, retired, the former National Security Advisor NSA, which sat in the office of the National Security Advisor for 5 weeks from early January to late February 2020. He said, I was a president of the board of inquiry with members, secretary drawn from the NSC, NIS, DSS, NIA, ONSC, NFIU, as well as from the board of inquiry, which largely conducted its work as investigative body, tasked to investigate circumstances surrounding the illegal smuggling of petroleum products contained in 168 oil tankers into Benin Republic through a single smuggling route in Ilesha Babara in Kwara State. He said, he went further to say that the BOI went further to uncover 295 oil tankers that conveyed premium motor spirit, also known as fuel, and the major smugglers identified. The petition stated that the Board of Inquiry made a significant discovery regarding the relationship between the smuggling racket, the terrorism besetting the Northeast, and the banditry kidnapping for ransom, which was at its formative stage in the Northwest and parts of North Central geopolitical zones. This, he claimed, included the illegal mining of minerals in the Northwest and North Central and large-scale laundering of mostly funds meant for counter-terrorism, insurgency, operations that were ongoing mostly in the northern regions of the country. A syndicate which had extensive network in the country, as well as being affiliated to international criminal network, was as the center of moving finances for terrorism for other criminal activities stated above. He further added that it was thus apparent that terrorism and insurgency in the Northeast, Northwest, North Central were a criminal enterprise and were largely undertaken with profit rather than any ideology as the primary motive. Thus, we at the Board of Inquiry arrived at the obvious conclusion that progress cannot be achieved except the financiers, collaborators, supporters, and leadership of the terrorism and insurgents group are identified and the network dismantled. The petitioner said recommendations on the findings were made and submitted to the presidency, but were swept under the carpet because of the powerful individuals involved. The petition said the operation successfully infiltrated the leadership of terror groups in the Northeast, which culminated in their decimation, adding that key terrorism financiers were linked to the individuals convicted for terror financing in the United Arab Emirates. The petitioner noted that trouble started when the task force became victims of unfair attacks, including starvation of funding for its operations. This substantiates the argument that some powerful persons in the outside government as well as from the military were uncomfortable with the task force, and specifically my humble self as commander, he said. The petitioner said the death of Lieutenant General Ibrahim Attairu, under whose tenure he served as GOC, dealt a blow to the task force as the new army chief, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, removed him as GOC 1 Mechanized Division, Kaduna. He noted that subsequently the presidency, the AGF, became less helpful. According to him, the entire episode culminated in his arrest and detention for 64 days in solitary confinement, where he slept on the floor with consequent health implications. He lamented that the most painful part of his experience was that President Muhammadu Buhari, who approved his headship of the task force, did not come to his rescue. Begging President Tinubu for his intervention on the matter, he said, kindly cause an investigation into the circumstances surrounding my arrest, detention, maltreatment, and compulsory retirement from the Nigerian army. He also sought a review of his compulsory retirement from the army and that it should be commuted to voluntary retirement, as well as approved compensation for the expenditure incurred by the task force in hiring vehicles and quarters. This should include compensation for the pains and injuries suffered while incarcerated and approved of personal security, he said. We have all heard from the horse's mouth. We have all heard how top personalities in government are financing terrorism in this country. Which is why we do always tell our people, say, in all una they do, we could ensure say una no depend on the government to defend and protect you. Immediately you don't begin to say na government go protect you. Immediately you don't begin to depend on the government for your protection, for your security. You don't go with that. You don't buy with that. You are gone for it. So you better understand that the best security you can get is the security that you procure for yourself. At this point, make nobody believe say government to go help am. in this thing where they happen. You see this terrorism, you see all these things, you see all this oil, bunkering, all this oil looting, all this terrorism, all these kidnappings and asking for ransoms and all of that. I am telling you most solemnly, say this thing, they connected to most of these top people will be saying that them they had positions for the country, because when you look at the security architecture, you go see, say, they handicapped. Most of the junior staffs will be saying that them suppose move, effect these things. The senior people, where they give the directives, they compromised. And as then they compromised, they know they give them that directive. So when your oga, they act like, say, you need to do something, then you relax. But when your oga, they tell you, say, this thing, we need to find out the cause of this. We need to know who is doing this. Then you see those below, underneath, pushing and doing and taking actions. But when you report something, your oga will tell you, forget it. You cannot do much. And that is how they have been, designed. So if you continue to wait, and we have continued to ask, people don't they petition, they ask, they say, those people where UAE talk, say, they are financiers of terrorism in the country. Waiting make they still they hide the names of those people. You see, that's where the problem is coming from. Why are they hiding their identity? We must open our eyes and we must learn a lesson. If we do not learn a lesson, we will continue to think that these people are working for us, whereas in the real sense, they are working against us. Thank you for listening.